Welcome to the CWB Association Welding Podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Roy. Let's flip up the lid and spark some conversation.
Welcome to the CWB Association Welding Podcast. We are proud to continue our collaboration with Compétences Canada on this special podcast series where we will be highlighting the training, the passion, the dedication behind the road to Team Canada from the competitors, trainers, experts, and everyone involved as they prepare to head to WorldSkills competition in Shanghai, China. Today, we'll be having an exciting conversation as we discuss aerospace technology with Team Canada competitor Benjamin Jamison. How's it going, Ben?
I'm doing good. How are you, Kevin?
Doing all right. So let's just break this down. What is aerospace technology?
My trade name is an aircraft maintenance engineer. So there's pilots that'll fly the aircraft or helicopter, and then there's the ground crew like me that'll maintain and repair and inspect the helicopter or airplane.
So how did you fall into this trade?
Well, I was deep in the cadet program growing up, and I was thinking I either wanted to be a mechanic or I wanted to be a pilot. And then I found out about aircraft maintenance, and I knew that's exactly what I wanted to do. It's the hybrid between both of the things that I was loving.
So what made you make that leap? Like, do I want to fly them or do I want to work on them? What showed up in you that decided?
Not exactly sure. I've always been working with my hands, lots of like construction with the family, house renovations, that kind of stuff, and then having my own projects like fixing old lawnmowers and stuff like that. And then I guess helicopters was the next big leap for me.
So you were in Air Cadets, you mentioned that, right?
Yep.
When did you start working on helicopters and stuff?
Well, it was right during COVID-19. I went down to SAIT in Calgary, and that's when I kind of started my school. It was a 2-year program, and that's when I got my first hands-on experience with some real, retired aircraft. And after I graduated from that, I got a job working on King Airs and Beech 1900s, and that was my first time getting hands-on real flying aircraft, and I'll always remember that.
Yeah. So you got to be pretty precise, I'd have to say, if you're going to be working on stuff that flies around, right?
Well, it's no different than any car. It's got limitations that it needs to be within, whether it's a couple thousandths of an inch, it's either right or it's wrong.
Yeah, a couple of 10,000ths of an inch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So what kind of what part of the airplane or helicopter is your favorite part to work on?
Well, I got to say the engines. Everybody loves the engines. They're cool. They spin fast, make a whole lot of horsepower. But I also like the flight controls. They're lots of fun. That involves you setting kind of a baseline. Then you go up for test flights and see how much vibration you have in the machine. And then you'll land and make adjustments as required. So it's a full day of having fun.
I can't begin to imagine how intricate like flight controls are. Can you like explain that to me?
Well, it all depends on the type of machine. Like the bigger ones are all kind of hydraulic, whereas the smaller ones use more cables and pulleys, and it's just pilot inputs. And those are the fun ones to work on.
So do you do much flying then as part of your training?
Only on test flights. That's about it. I was thinking about getting my PPL, but I'd much rather fix the machine than fly it.
And what is a PPL for the
Oh,
listeners?
sorry, that's your private pilot's license.
Okay, yeah. Is that still something you consider doing?
Yeah, in my spare time, of course, but I got a whole lot on my plate with WorldSkills, so I think I'm going to focus on that for now.
Well, that's a very good lead up to the next question is, so what kind of training are you doing right now? What does a typical week look like for you?
Lots of it is on the job training. I currently work with my trainer, so it's really nice that we can go into a project at work and treat it like a world skills project. And then after work, I'm also allowed to use their facilities. If I need to do any sheet metal work or electrical work, then I can fabricate my own assemblies in my own time.
Do you want to shout out who your trainer is or where
Yeah.
do you work?
Oh, yeah, of course. I work for Stars Air Ambulance. They're helping me a lot. They're a sponsor of mine, and my trainer is Mr. Ryan Gillis. He's a very good mechanic.
That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, STARS is an amazing program to begin with, and I think that'd be the best place to work when you want to get that kind of experience because you got to upkeep that equipment because it saves lives.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So is it pretty rigorous? Do you spend, most days there, 2, 3 days out of the week? Are you there weekends?
Yeah, I'm there. I work shift work, so I work 8 days on and then 6 days off. So it's quite nice just to go into work, do my 10 hours, get to complete the full job, and then go home and get well rested, ready for the next one.
Do you do any kind of physical training or do you do any kind of mental training as part of that training?
Yeah, of course. Mental training is a big one. Like you got to be strong in the head in order to compete at this level. So whenever I'm going into any job, I always take the first 3 minutes, walk through all the steps in my head. This is what I'm going to do. This is how it's going to go. This is what it's going to look like. And then once you get that picture in your head, then your hands have to go to work.
Yeah. Has there ever been a moment because you've competed nationally, like provincial, national as well. So has there ever been a moment where you got kind of hung up and how did you overcome those little hang-ups?
Well, everybody makes mistakes, so there's always those kind of errors that happen, like an electrical project. If you crimp a wire wrong, then you got to cut it and it'll be too short, and you got to redo everything. So just sit back, realize you messed up, and then think about what you got to do, and then start doing it.
Yeah, that's very true. I think like even myself, I get nervous sometimes or anxious when I've, come into a big situation. So what are the kind of tools that you use mentally to get over that?
I'm not exactly sure what kind of tools a guy could use. I'm fairly headstrong, I guess you could say. I'm not sure if that's the correct term, but I broke it. It's broken. I can't fix that, but I can work with it.
That's actually a great mentality. And like I always tell people, like it's not a mistake if you can fix it and no one saw you.
There you go. Yeah.
So let's go back to Air Cadets. So are you still involved in that?
I am. Yep. I'm a civilian instructor there. And then after I'm finished competing in Shanghai in September, then I'll go back and join the reserves and help them in that way too. So I'm looking forward to it.
That's really cool. Do you think that being able to teach, the next generation coming up helps you as a competitor?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I feel a great honor being able to teach the up and coming generation. I mean, I'm very passionate about my industry and I'd love to help get these kids in. And if there's any of them are slightly thinking about it, then I have the tools at hand to really rope them in and show them what we're all about. So really lets me get to know the industry, helps me talk to people and make connections. And I mean, it's a really good thing. I'm a big fan of the cadet program.
That's great actually, because I always think like if you want to know a subject, you have to teach it. That's when you really
Exactly.
get behind it. So, what's been the hardest skill for you to master throughout this competition?
Um, it's got to be the sheet metal in terms of just raw skill, because in my competition, there's 5 aspects that I need to go through. There's an aircraft inspection task, then there's a sheet metal task, I have an electrical task, and then I have a general component task, and then I have an engine task. So with the component and the electrical and the engine, it's kind of all uncertain. You don't know what you're going to be doing up until the 5 minutes before you have to do it. The sheet metal is a little bit more controlled. It's either going to be a repair or I need to fabricate something out of aluminum, which involves taking your flat sheet of aluminum, bending it up within your specs, and then riveting it all together. So I need to bend up whatever it is, like an antenna bracket or something, all within half a millimeter, and everything has their specifications. It's either right or wrong. Are your bends right or wrong? Are your bend radiuses right or wrong? Right? Are your rivets right or wrong? It's kind of, you got to try and get a lot of rights in there.
That seems like a lot. What kind of tools do you use? You're mentioning bending the aluminum. How do you do that?
Um, Generally for sheet metal, common tools that we're going to use is shear. That's what we use for cutting the aluminum, and then a bending brake. That's what we use for bending it up, and then like pneumatic drills and pneumatic rivet gun, bucking bars, and that's really the basics. But
Yeah, that's a lot of things you have to know how to use though to compete in your trade.
yeah, everything's got their little fine details that you need to know before you can use it, especially you get that half a millimeter tolerance. It's pretty
That's
tight.
that is very tight. I'm a welder by trade and you know, like I'm used to working within an eighth of an inch. Like we're fine. But
Hmm.
you're going way past that.
I
So
think
be,
that's lots of the world skills competitors have lots of really tight tolerances. It's not just my trade. We've all got to be within that 1 millimeter or half a millimeter or whatever it is.
yeah, so you have to be right, but you also have to be accurate.
Exactly.
Yeah. During, you know, your competitions leading up to this, what has been your favorite kind of experience?
Um, I'm a really big fan of competing. I mean, you walk up to the stand and it's nothing but nerves, right? You're white in the face, your heart is beating out of your chest, you can't breathe, and then the timer starts go. And it's just everything, it's your mind gets cleared, and then you can just start doing what you do, working with your hands and getting the project done. And when you get it done, there's no better feeling in the world.
Absolutely. So do you think the feeling is the same, like let's say on a local level and then, you know, moving forward, have you felt the same amount of pressure or does the pressure build as the competition builds?
Well, I competed twice nationally, once in Quebec City and the second time in Regina. And I mean, the first time I was kind of walking into it, I didn't really know exactly what I was getting myself into. But the second time in Regina, I knew exactly what I needed to do. I knew exactly how I needed to do it. And then I also had all my coworkers that were knowing about me doing it. And there was a lot of stress in Regina, but I got the job done, obviously. So I'm happy.
So what's been your proudest moment then? Was this big Regina win?
I think I was probably more surprised and proud in Quebec City. That was my first win ever. I never got to participate in any provincials. I just went straight to the nationals from Team Alberta. And I mean, I was, as the bronze medal was called and the silver medal was called, I was sinking down into my seat saying, man, there's no way I won this. And all of a sudden, Ben Jamison on the board. Didn't expect it at all, but it was an incredible feeling.
That's amazing. Yeah, I can only imagine, especially like just getting dropped into a competition and shining like that. Do you think that all had to do with your training, or is it who you are as a person? You said you're very competitive, but you know, like, were you so nervous, but then you got like laser focused? What happened?
Probably entirely the training. I got there was a couple weeks before the national competition when I was selected to go on Team Alberta, and then I did some hardcore training with Ryan Gillis, who is my current trainer at Stars before I was employed there, and he kind of helped me, showed me the ropes, and gave me a couple of really good tips and tricks that I still use today. And then after I did that training session with him, they asked for my resume, and I started working with them ever since.
Nice. So I guess skills in some kind of way is a great hiring tool. I guess it's something good to have on your resume. Would you agree?
I agree 100%, especially for anybody in any mechanical trade, you're in a job interview. It's a lot better to say you're competing in World Skills, you're competing in Skills Canada versus just, oh, I change the oil on my truck every once in a while, right? Shows that you're passionate about your trade.
Yeah, very true. So what are you looking forward to the most about this world skills in China?
I'm honestly, like I said before, I'm really excited for the competition. I know a little bit of what they're going to throw at me. I just came back from China. We had a training trip. Me and my trainer went there for 5 or so days. And it was really good to meet some of the competitors, know what I'm up against, get some hands on some Chinese aircraft there. So I'm looking forward to Shanghai.
Wow, that's super cool. Now, is that something that most trades do, or just you decided to do this?
Um, there is a specific company that's kind of sponsoring the World Skills event called Shanghai Tech, and they're kind of making an aircraft that's cut into thirds. You have the nose section, then you have the fuselage, which is the body and the wings, and then you have the empennage, which is all the tail and the engines in the back there. So they invited the World Skills competitors to come out and be able to get some hands on this trainer that they're developing before the competition. So I'm very fortunate that I was able to go and meet the competitors and get my hands on this trainer before Shanghai.
Yeah, it kind of seems like a little bit of a cheat code because usually you don't find out what you'll be working on until you get there, right?
Exactly. There have been some pictures circulating, but it's all just been, I mean, a picture up until now, but I kind of can put some pieces together in my head of what I'm going to be working with over there.
Yeah, that's great preparation. So that side, like the competition side, is there anything else that you like about competing? Like, is Team Canada kind of like a big family?
It is, yeah. I mean, lots of the competitors on Team Canada are really nice. It's good to go out and talk with them and be with them, right? I'm looking forward to Toronto as well. I'm leaving there for tomorrow actually for the national competition, so I'm looking forward to seeing all of Team Canada up together again.
Yeah, I'll also be going to Toronto. I'll be bringing the podcast there.
Awesome.
Um, yeah. So when you go to this national competition, you guys aren't competing, right? This is just kind of a,
I'm lucky enough to be competing alongside of our competitors. I know lots of other people on Team Canada are either judging or not doing really anything, but I'm fortunate enough to be competing alongside the other competitors from Team Alberta, Team Saskatchewan, Team BC. So
wow. So, are you, I guess you're not worried about that because you're already going to Worlds. So what does that feel like for you?
um well, now everybody's going to be looking at my work really close and comparing it to all the other teams, see if I'm up to par or not.
So and again, I'm not putting this in the universe, but what would it do to you if you just had a terrible showing?
Well, I guess I got to get my stuff together. I got a couple months before Shanghai, so I'm going to be hitting the training hard already, and if I don't show up and give my best in Toronto, then I better be kicking it up in a high gear here.
Absolutely. So what did it feel like when you were chosen to represent Canada on a world stage?
I mean, it's incredible. You can't describe the feeling of being able to walk up on the stage and represent your nation in something like this. It's a trade that I'm passionate about and a nation I love. And I get to put the two together and represent my country to the highest caliber. It's incredible.
That is absolutely amazing because this is the upper level of the trades. It's the Olympic of the trades, right?
Exactly.
So what would you say to a young person out there who's looking to get into the trades but doesn't know what to do?
Do it. Pull the trigger on something. If you're not happy where you're at, it's easy to make a change, right? If you pull the trigger on auto body, then you can move into mechanics or anything else, right? But it doesn't do you any good sitting back and worrying. It's a lot better to pull the trigger, start doing something and make a mistake than not doing anything at all.
Do you think that Skills Compétences Canada is a good path for doing that?
100%. There is no better path than an apprentice going through the skills competition, in my opinion. I mean, you have absolutely nothing to lose and everything to gain. You get all the skills through your training, and you get to talk with people in the same industry as you, get to network in that regard, get to put that mark on your resume as well. There's nothing better than skills.
hmm Now, I don't know if you've experienced this because you kind of came up through Air Cadets and you're already training people, but for the people around you in your group or your friend group, has there been a lot of push towards the university side of things?
Not really. I've known from a young age that I wasn't ever really going to go to university. I'm a big fan of working with my hands, as I said before. So I wanted to be a woodworker before, and then thinking about the mechanics or a pilot. And I knew if I wanted to be a pilot or anything, I'd miss working with my hands. So I'm very happy where I am.
Yeah, a true craftsman, that got to work with the hands. That's where the pride comes from. That's where the feeling, it's very rewarding, right? You get to see what you've worked on.
Oh yeah.
In your trade, is there the use of AI, and are you worried that AI is going to take your job?
AI can't replace me. That's not something that's really possible. I'm in the heavy maintenance side of things, so for every hour the plane flies, there it needs to have a certain amount of maintenance. So our ships in particular, the big inspections are every 400 flight hours. It gets down, and then we have to rip the whole thing apart. And then every 800 hours, we gotta do the same thing, bring it down, rip the whole thing apart, inspect every rivet, every band, inspect everything for cracks. It's a big show, and it takes a long time. And there's no way a computer would be able to do it.
That's very true. But you do use computers in your work, right?
Not necessarily just for the manual.
Hmm.
Like my manual is online, and then we also use what's called a glass cockpit. So the helicopter kind of only has computer screens in the front instead of gauges. So we do need to upload and retrieve some data from the computers, but that's about it. Everything else is with your hands.
That is awesome. So when you're in competition and stuff, how close is the competition to what you have to do on a daily basis at your work?
Some of them are really close. I could see myself doing the aircraft inspection project or task competition in real life at the job, but something like sheet metal or composite or electrical, that's a specialized trade. There's four different licenses in Canada that a guy can get. We have M1 license, which is smaller aircraft, M2 license, which is larger aircraft, your EE license, which is all electronics and avionics, and then your S license, which is all structures. So for me, doing my sheet metal or a composite task competition, that's going to fall under the S license. Or with the electrical task, it's going to fall under the E license. And then the other two kind of fall under M. So in my job right now, I'm only going to be getting the M2 license. So the aircraft and the component um, tasks are right up my alley, but the other ones are more specialized.
Now, I guess, after you win gold at Worlds and you're coming back, um, what's your future plans? You're going to keep doing this trade, or you want to go get more certifications, or what are you thinking?
I'm going to keep doing this trade. I see absolutely zero reason for me to leave in the position that I'm at right now. I mean, currently I'm loving it. I'm employed. I'm making money. So why break a good system?
Cool. So you mentioned all these different classes. Is that something, do you want to be just the guy that has it all?
That would be nice. Yep. If you have your M1 and your M2, then you're considered to have them all. But lots of guys that have both M1 and M2 aren't super comfortable with structures or avionics. So structures is one thing that I'm quite a bit interested in, the riveting and the bending aluminum. So if I were to get a second classification, I think I'd probably go for my S license.
Hmm. I guess going from that point, would you ever want to be the expert for Team Canada? Would you ever want to be the trainer and just keep this going forward?
100%. After I'm competing in Shanghai, I'm gonna 100% try and be an expert. This skills has done wonders in my life, and I'd like to give it back to some other kid.
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing. So how old are you, and when are you not allowed to compete in World Skills?
I am 22 right now, and I believe the age cap for my trade is 28, but you're not allowed to have your aircraft maintenance engineer's license. So I guess lots of people will come into my trade a little bit later in life and then can participate in the skills competition. But as long as they don't have their license, then they can compete.
Because if you're already out there doing it, then you've got maybe a leg up on somebody.
Exactly.
So what from your experience, what is the average age of the people that you've gone up against?
That I've gone up against, they're low. They're right out of school, same as me, 21, 22, 23, right in that range.
Have you gone up against older people that maybe just held off on getting their license just to go for it?
Only one individual in Quebec City, but in terms of the people that I met in China already at this World's competition, everybody's right around the same age as me. So we're all in level playing field here.
Cool. Now I got to go somewhere different here. Could you see yourself doing a different trade, or would you have, when you were a younger person, what were you thinking about that isn't related to your trade?
Well, as a younger person, I was really interested in woodworking and carpentry and all of that kind of stuff. That's what I grew up with. And then as I've kind of developed, I got more interested in the mechanics, into motorcycles, cars. And then as that developed into helicopters and planes. And now that I'm working on helicopters and planes, I'm kind of getting really interested in car painting. I have a lot of respect for the people that do it, and I think it's just absolutely fascinating. So if I couldn't be a helicopter mechanic, I think I'd want to be a car painter.
That's really cool, actually, because that's an insane trade on its own.
No kidding.
Yeah. So is there a fun story, or on the other side of that, is there like a terrible story that you have from your experiences with skills? I know we talked about your win and how it felt, but like, is there something that went horribly bad and how you overcame it? Or is there something that was just like, yeah, I'm really good at this?
I mean, everybody has their turmoils here in Quebec City. I really excelled at the piston engine task. It was magneto timing, so that's how you time the ignition when your spark plugs fire in your piston engine. And I really excelled at that. And then there was the other side of the turbine engines where I feel like I just completely failed. So I was going into that closing ceremony with low hopes because of that turbine engine project, but I guess my piston engine was good enough to keep my head above water.
Yeah. So how do they grade it then? Like if you felt you did something really bad on this one, did really good on this one, how do they actually grade this?
Every one of my five competitions is broken out of 20 points, and then that 20 points is makes up the 100. So, like for sheet metal, for example, if my bends aren't within half a millimeter, then I'll lose a certain amount of points. If some of my rivets are bad, then I'll lose a certain amount of points per rivet, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's crazy. So you have to know it all to be a competitor going to Worlds.
Exactly.
I guess as we wrap up here, Ben, what would you tell, we kind of went over it already about children going into the trades or young people going into the trades, but like what would you tell them to give them that push? What would you say to them?
Just do it. Nothing is holding you back from having your life. If you really want something, just go out and do it. I'm kind of in the position where I am by simply asking, "Hey, are you guys looking for an apprentice? Do you guys want to do this? Can I compete in the national competition?" It's not anything that you can get or be given. It's something that you need to go out and get.
That is a great piece of advice. Yeah, ask questions. Don't be afraid to do that. Well, Ben, it's been awesome having you as a guest, and I wish you the best of luck at World Skills. I know you'll do great.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Kevin.
Thank you. And thank you everyone for tuning into the CWB Association Welding podcast. and our special series collaboration with Skills Compétences Canada. We wish Team Canada the best of luck, and we'll be cheering everybody on. Be sure to follow the podcast on your favorite streaming platform as we continue to showcase these amazing individuals. Thank you so much.